Bonjour, ça va? Welcome to Wednesday, the 30th of April, 2025. We are 25% of the year, 4, 8, 12. No, I'm not. We're a third, 33% of the year away through 2025. This is the selection table. The Blues are flying 3 in a row. Is it flag season? We won't know, but we have an important fixture in Adelaide this week. So I've rounded up the 3 best heads that I could think of. We do usually have 4 heads, but unfortunately the 4th head at this stage is currently tied up at work. So shout out to Ian, who has to work for a living. We love you, and we'll see you next week. But joining me, as always, a man that is always here. If I'm Mark Murphy, I need a Cade Simpson, and Cade Simpson is here. Mr. Leckdog, how are you, Squire?
I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. You know, it's a good week if you and I have already spoken for about 6 hours on the phone by Wednesday, which we have. So it's been a good week. It was a very fun game to watch. I haven't been to a win yet though, this year. So maybe I'm going to have to stay home for the rest of the year.
Mate, to be honest, I could actually get away with having an affair now because I speak to you so much. So if I do ever have an affair, I could just put her number in as Leckdog and I'd never be suspected.
No one would know.
Well, we won't mention the fact that you just said it on the internet. Yeah,
but you see, who would be stupid enough to admit it on the internet as well?
True.
Mate, I'm a visionary.
G'day, Seth Rollins, if you're listening.
Obviously, everyone, don't cheat on your partner. Cheat with someone else's partner. It's a lot more fun if you don't get caught. Gamble responsibly. Joining me as a new person, a man that knows all about the frailties of finance, a man that knows the sticky web that is the corporation, but the man who's changing the face of finance. No longer do they wear cheap 3-piece suits. No longer do they show your chest hair. No longer do they drive BMWs. The great man, the man of the people, Nick Holsborough, Horizon Finance. How are you, my friend?
What a lovely warm welcome. Thank you very much, Pommy. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling the pinches of end of month in car dealerships, and that's kind of killing my back. I felt the pressure, but speaking of pressure, the Blues decided to turn the pressure up and played magnificently against Geelong, and that was good. That was good. They're giving us the taste again. Every time I'm ready to give up, they give us another reason that I'm back invested and ready to get my heart broken.
Hey, mate, look, they are a roller coaster, aren't they? Our Blues. They don't do it easy. They make us earn it, and I think that's probably why we love them, isn't it?
Oh, they've had me on the string for 45 years now, and every year for the last 30, they've found a new way to break my heart. So I'm ready. No chest here. Break it. Just come in and break it. I'm ready.
I love it. And the gorgeous Dione gifting 5 subs. Make sure you give Dione some love. She's a great human being. But finally, I am joined again by another new member, a man that is revolutionizing journalism. There's 2 types of people in the world that we hate. 1 are lawyers, 2 are journalists, but 1 who is pure heart. He's a lovable guy. He's a man that only speaks the truth. He's a great friend of mine and a great friend of yours. The great man himself, Jonno Baruch.
G'day, Pommy. G'day, gents. G'day, chat. It's funny that you mentioned Ian and having to work to earn a living, Pommy. I found it amusing the last few Carlton games. And boys, if you've been along and picked this up, tell me no that they've started playing up there Kazali at 3/4 time. I don't know if that's some subliminal messaging that just from Carlton to its fans to say like, oh, you haven't heard this in a while on the big day, so here you go. And in the same breath, you might not get to hear it on the big day as you move along through this thing called life. But hey, the last few weeks they've given us a chance to believe again and get on board. It's life's good going into work on a Monday morning, particularly after a win the day before. So long may it continue, but we've got a formidable task ahead of us again this week.
Did they really
Big
play
ti-
that at 3/4 time against Geelong?
They've done it a
few
couple of
times
times.
this
So
year.
they did it. They did it against the Dogs, and I'm sitting there thinking that's bold. And they've included it as part of their activations, like pick the song that you want to do karaoke for at 3/4 time. I'm surprised it got up over a Taylor Swift song, to be completely honest with you, Nick.
That's funny. This is a Hamish and Andy reference for everyone who listens to them, but they tried to get Collingwood to play it, and Collingwood refused and said, "No, that's for grand final day only." And then we've gone, "Oh fuck it, we'll play it every week." Yeah, we don't have any standards.
Yeah.
Well, because
Yeah.
You know
was
what?
a superstar for the Cats, so I'm surprised that they would have played that. It might have fired Geelong up, which is not what we wanted.
You know what I've just had a thought of? Right. We all represent things that Australians hate. So we've got like the finance guy and the car dealership guy, right?
Mhm.
We've got the journalist. We've got the guy that works in betting. And obviously we've got like, the pantomime villain, the English guy. Like, we really need to get a traffic warden on board.
What does Ian do? Surely he does
Traffic
something in
warden,
that space.
hopefully.
Yeah.
He likes it trained or something like that.
Well, actually, Ian is two things, I reckon. One, I guarantee he votes number one preference Greens, just a hunch. And number two, he's a part-time musician. So everyone hates musicians. I reckon he probably works at a coffee shop because that's where all musicians work, innit?
Who hates musicians?
Well,
I love musicians.
I love music.
You
but I'm
love
just saying.
successful musicians. And I think that's a
We all know
difference.
we all know that guy, don't we? Who lies, guy or girl? Obviously, we're embracive here at Pommyinoz, but who says that they're a professional actor or they're a musician, but they actually work at Coles or Costa?
Yeah. I've got a couple of professional DJs in my life that.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Professional DJs. And ironically, what I opened up with the show on how to successfully have an affair, I learned that from a DJ, which you won't be surprised. But
Makes sense.
there we go, DJs. You've got a DJ deck at your house, haven't you, actually, Nick? Throwing you under the bus.
I do. I'm the best DJ the world's never seen, and I thought you were going to blow my cover.
Mate, hey, look, we all need to go around to your house. Anyway, let's get on with this show.
We win a premiership. I'll put
The
on
grand,
the party.
the
No
grand
worries
final
about
party's
that.
at Nick's. Book one.
100%. Let's book it in.
Hey, you don't need the grand final. You just need to go around with some beers at Nick's house and he'll slap the DJ set on.
Always
I
ready
do
to
know
go,
a bloke
mate.
who watches our shows, who owns a winery in the Yarra Valley, and every time I've gone up there for a few weddings, and every time I go there, he goes, "Fuck! When we win it this year, I'm inviting you and the boys up here." So we do have free wine as well when we win the flag.
Unfortunately, whoever that is, I'm not cultured enough to drink wine. But $20 from Tracy. That's for your beautiful wife. The amount of craziness she deals with, she needs a medal. Love to the kids. Thank you, Tracy. Hey, tell you what, look, I've got to say, the real MVP, I love my wife more than anyone on the planet. And honestly, the easy part is being her husband. Can you imagine? I'm self-ownership. I'd hate to be married to me, like genuinely. So fair plays her. I would have dumped me about 2 weeks in. But Nick, here we go. You've made the 3 changes. Take us through it, my friend.
Did I dump Lord? Fuck, I've had a tired day. I didn't mean to do that.
I thought you did. I'll help you out. I thought you did because he's been subbed like 3 times in a row.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to. It was just one of those days. It was a lot of. I was waiting to see what happened with Chera, and by the time we got that, I had a heap of salesmen going, "They're picking up my car at the end of the month. Have you settled the finance?" So I was trying to do 3 things at once, and trying to do the best I can. And I knew I kind of miss someone every week, don't I? So I am but an amateur tipster, and I am a professional finance broker. So there you go. So where are we putting? Let's put Lord. Let's put Lord in as sub. I can't dump him on his recent form. It was a hard one this week to select. We've obviously got Silvani out. He's tried to hit Dangerfield and come off second best just with his knuckles, so he's got a couple of weeks off. And Silvani is a hard one, and we've lost Williams to injury as well. Two guys that are going very well for us and will be sorely missed this week. I did go and watch the first half of the reserves on the weekend. I had a mate whose son was debuting for the Cats, young Forbesy. Brilliant kick on him. So I got to see a little bit of what was going on in the reserves. I was quite impressed with the way that Doherty was playing. He's a little bit too good for the reserves and a little bit almost not good enough for our seniors at the moment. So it was hard on the selection table this week. I was impressed with Boyd after sort of thinking, he ain't playing that well in the last couple of weeks. I think he sort of stepped up, and Cowan returned to form. So the obvious picks to replace Silvani and that strength and body power for me is Cowan. Haynes has gone next level. He's cut his hair, he's lost the man bun, and he's got back his man card, and he's playing like a man. And take my hat off to him when a lot of others were doubting. There was a few people saying, hang on, wait. And didn't he arrive something special on the weekend? So Haynes, well done. So Cowan in the side, Boyd for a little bit of extra run, and support for Carroll. Carroll's been doing a great job, finds the footy really well. Disposal sort of let him down, I thought, over the weekend, which was a bit of it wasn't the regular Carroll. So he gets a chance. He's still in the side, but a little bit of extra support if he is going to be off with his kicking. Boydie's ready to go. So welcome to the club, Boydie. Chera, Cripps, Hollands. Hollands playing in his natural habitat on the wing. Looks a lot better player than trying to play in defence somewhere he's not. Cottrell's gone from strength to strength and is playing almost career form. Cottrell consistency, which is great to see. And I did put a big doubt over whether Mackay was ready. Leckdog, he said, yep, put him in when the pressure's there. And, mate, I stand on my sword. I was wrong. You were right. Mackay, welcome back, son. Keep going. And Elijah Hollands, we look like a different team with Elijah playing with confidence, don't we? A lot of excitement. That forward pressure was fantastic. Durden's learnt to jump. And is very, very exciting to watch at the moment. Curnow found some form, and Motlop doing Motlop things. You know, he can go into the midfield and run it out really quickly. Still lacking the full confidence. So I'd like to see him get caught less and dispose of the ball a bit better. But he is doing his best, and he is improving week by week. TDK Walsh is back in career best form. The big difference is he's not just grabbing the ball and trying to handball it off. We're seeing him run. We're seeing him create, the give and goes along the wing to create some options up forward. It's exciting. On the bench, Carroll, Akers, Fogarty, and Will White doing sensational. Lord in as sub because I thought Doherty was going to get a run, and it looks like he's probably not. So that is my team for the week, and happy to take questions.
Boys, any questions for young Nick?
Yeah, not really about the team selection, because I think there's some differences in all our teams, but I think, I'm presuming, but I think it's relatively straightforward who the roles that need to come in. But talk to me about Lige, because he had an awesome game, potentially the best game he's actually ever played. What do you think he is long term, Nick?
Long term. Well, he's how old is Lige? He's 20.
Younger than you'd think.
23. 23. Looks like he's 35.
He only turned 23 2 days ago.
There you go. He could be a midfielder in the making. He could be anything. Little bit of versatility. I think he can. He's got a solid body. He could go behind the ball. He seems to be one who makes the play. He's really got a good head on his shoulders, and when he's confident to go, look out. So, yeah, I think he fits the role perfectly at half forward at the moment, directing traffic, taking a few grabs up the up the line, double dutching with his brother on the wing and creating opportunities at the moment. And our forward pressure looks a lot better with him in it. They were relentless. They really were. They were, good at, we've for weeks and weeks, that's been our Achilles heel, hasn't it? That we kick it long into Mackay and Curnow. If they don't mark, it gets mopped up by the defending team, and they kick it straight back out of there. These boys are on. They're hunting in packs, and they're trying to keep that ball in there. They're laying tackles, and it's great to see.
Yeah, love it. I think Dione Lige is the X factor we need. He is. He's what we hoped SPS might have been way back when. I think he's legit though. I think he's he can hit the scoreboard. He can apply pressure, but he was all over the place. He was behind the ball at times. It's great.
Yep.
And should get some more midfield minutes, like those rotations that Williams has been having the last few weeks. So.
Well, it's a little bit like the Doherty was for us, bit versatile. We can put him anywhere that's needed, and it's good to see that coming through from somebody who's young and with a little bit more pace and a little bit now. X factor's right. Hit the spot. Whoever wrote that comment, Dione. Yeah.
I keep saying it. The second best player behind Nick Dacos that I have ever witnessed in junior football.
Really. Wow.
Genuinely, that's how much I like Lige. So I was touching myself when we got him. Mr. Jonno, it's very sexual today, Pom. I don't know what's going on with me, but Jonno,
sort it out, Mrs. Pom, please.
Mommy's got that feeling. Nick, I was kind of thinking when I saw the injury report that this is I think I know who's going to be the first man in your team sheet this week, but it's not even there. Where's your man Lewis? And did he not come into consideration for Sauce?
Yeah, good question. And he obviously did come into consideration. I think he's playing a better game up forward and as that second sort of ruck. As a defender. We need, when we lose Silvani, we lose body on body. And I think Cowan is a better matchup for that body on body role than what Young would have been, respectfully, this week against the likes of Phil Thorpe and Fogarty's coming back into the team as well. So I went for what's that?
Don't forget Taylor Walker.
Oh, Wiedering's got him covered for days.
Well, it's interesting you say Cowan playing that role and you trust him with the body. I've got him earmarked for another matchup, which we'll get to when we get to my team. But do you not think he's a little bit undersized to play on one of those big boys? Like you've seen the size of Thilthorpe and Darcy Fogarty is not a small guy as well. Do you think Cowan's up for that job?
Good question. We'll find out. Or it might be Haynes, but yeah, Haynes was playing a great intercept role last week, and that's what he's built for, isn't it? It was a hard selection for me. Definitely a hard selection. So. Definitely.
How'd that conversation go with Lewis?
I haven't had the conversation. Hopefully, if you're watching, Lewis, we'll see you back soon.
This is how we found out.
I hope I didn't want to be caught out and point a finger that I'm selecting a guy just based on love. Either I do love you, Lewis, and I want you back in the side. I want you in there, but I'm selecting a side that I think will be selected this week, and that was my selection. Hey, but I kicked out Lloyd. I kicked out Lloyd without thinking about it too. So
that there is something good when you talk to a player and they happen to come across this and you haven't backed them in after backing them in their DMs. It's one of my favourite conversations to have. My question is in line with Sandy's, and someone else asked the same question as well. They've got quite a tall. They've got quite a tall forward line. Are you looking to match them up, or are you looking to give them some defensive work? Because I would agree with you. as good as Thilthorpe is, he is a giant, but Thilthorpe and Tex Walker are about as good defensively as the French have been defending Paris against anyone who can fight. So is that what you're trying to do?
I said a couple of weeks ago, like when we're up against the team and we seem to be picking a team that is very defensive and, you know, thinking about who's going to match up on who's going to match up on who, we don't look like Carlton anymore. And when we're playing all out attack and we're not really giving a shit about our defensive roles, I think that's when we're playing our best footy. And it's about changing the mindset of the team to attack and put a score on the board that's insurmountable. We've been shown that our defenders are hard to score against anyway. We're sitting second or third this week. I haven't had a good look at the detail of the ladder this week, but last week we were sitting third. Defense. Somebody's just written we're third best in defense in the league right now. So, I think as soon as we sort of slow the game down in our mind and think, how are we going to defend? We're already thinking from a losing mentality.
Mate, I love it. You answered that pretty well. I like it. Attack is the best form of defense. With that being said, though, I made just the two changes like young Nick. JSauce obviously decided to play fist on fist and lost. And Zach Williams did the old cow mating season injury, the calf. I brought in Lewis Young purely. Lewis Young is a behemoth in size. So I just wanted someone to match Thilthorpe as close as I could do in size, 201 centimetres. I figured that was it. And then I watched the VFL intently last week. I've made a structural change just for this week. I am sick of seeing Motlop play that midfield role. He's been playing about 15, 20% on the ball. I'm giving Mr. Ollie, or Cooper Lord, as he's really known. Nice to see the AFL have started calling Ollie Lord Cooper Lord as well. I've got in there. But he's going to be my extra midfield rotation. And Sam Doherty just comes in as the sub. He's versatile. He can play back, middle, forward. It covers the bases. Real simple, really. Just more of the same as it was last week. Lewis Young, he gets Thilthorpe. Wheater in, repeat what we did last week. Get Wheater in trying to go outside of the 50. And McGovern and Haynes, they can handle Keys. And Fogarty's only that 191, so he's not like a dangerous in that avenue. He's more of a stay-at-home. Yeah, nice and simple, really. Motlop stays at the fall of the ball and Lord takes the midfield. I was really unsexy. I'll take questions from you all now, chat.
You go. You go.
So just on the thing with the point you said about waitering and bringing him out of the 50, my mind immediately goes back to him chasing Tyson Stengel into goal. And if we look at what guys like you said, Ben Keys and Isaac Rankin have done to Carlton in the last few times that they've played them, they take their opponents up high and their opponents get sucked into the contest and then they bound back to goal and usually run in. Like Ben Keys has kicked 9 goals in his last 3 games against Carlton and about 7 of them have come from the goal square. So is there an issue with bringing Waitering up that high, or do you want him to stay as that last man and be that anchor?
I think last week we showed, in my preview, I said I wanted JSauce on Cameron, and that was the matchup they went for. I think this week, I don't want Lewis Young playing that role. I think Tex is very similar to Jeremy Cameron. He does his best work 65 out. My fear is if you give Lewis Young that job as if he was JSauce, I think there's going to be problems where I think Wheatering can match that. So I want Lewis lock down that full forward. Genuinely, Thilthorpe stays at full forward and then works his way out with Tex and Fogarty drifts in there. I wanted to keep it simple. I don't want Lewis Young to have too much responsibility. I just want him to stay there and be a body. McGovern and Haynes float to the intercept. but Wheatering's the one I would trust attacking the ball as high up the ground as he would, because he's got the intelligence as well. Not saying Lewis Young's stupid, but I just think that's too complex for a role for Lewis Young.
I actually, you'll see this with my team. I actually agree with you, Pom. And I don't know if I'm just doing maths on the fly because I'm trying to take out irrelevant games, but over the last 5 games, Tex, who's played that really high forward role, has kicked like 15 goals against us over his last 5 games. And for in the 2 games, I think last year he kicked 8 goals against us or something like that. So he's one I'm worried about. And then Rankin, you mentioned earlier, Jonno, he's a concern as well. But I'm with you, Pom. I want Lewis Young staying deep, and I want Wiedering to be doing more of the Silvani role this week and pushing higher up the ground.
Yeah. And to answer some of the questions in chat just on that, did I consider Cowan? I personally didn't, because Thilthorpe is going to 100% play. He trained today. Fogarty's a test. I reckon they're going to get him up after last week. Their forward line looked lost without Fogarty, and I think that role with Carlton, genuinely, when you watch us play, we get lost with the zone. So I feel like if I had Cowan at fullback, someone's got to follow Tex, and I want that to be Jacob. I want that to be our best defender. I wouldn't trust McGovern. I wouldn't trust Haynes. I feel like that is so integral. Where Lewis Young, I've got no issues with him standing there and spoiling. I feel like Lewis Young is pigeonholed because we've got Wiedering. Lewis Young is a bog standard key defender. You know what I mean? Like, Harrison Petty is a Premiership flag winning fullback. And no offense to Harrison Petty, but I'm better than Harrison Petty.
Billy Frampton, mate. Billy Frampton.
Yeah, exactly. Just do what you did in the forward line as a backman. Stay there, bring it to ground. Sard, Carroll, everyone will help you out. I don't mind that, because Thilthorpe won't be 100% because he'll have to play with an injection, so there will be that numbness. But yeah. I don't mind it.
There's method in your madness, Pom, and I agree. Like with Lewis, like, to have him back there, and if you give him the role to say just stay on your man, like, I'd put him on Thilthorpe, because I think he's got the size, and you want your best defender to play on their best forward who can hurt you the most, which is probably still Taylor Walker.
Against us it is, but
yeah. So that's probably my way of thinking of it too. But you'll see in my team when it comes up with just a few matchups and ideas.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I was confident, and I also wanted Lord to get their midfield minutes. I understand what we're doing with Motlop, and I'm usually all for it. That Motlop role, without a shadow of a doubt, is Jagger Smith's role, if he was fit. The 20% spurt through the midfield. Give it to Cooper Lord. He's earned the right, and put Motlop back forward. Obviously, we know Williams. I feel like that Williams role suits Motlop a little bit as well, having no defensive responsibility, being the outlet, try and kick it. I felt like I didn't want to, how do I say it? I really believe in the continuity of the back line, so I wanted to make as less changes as I could do. So I did think of Ben Camporelli, a few of you are asking. I want Ben and Lucas to keep playing VFL. Like, I do want Ben in. If there was an injury, I said it in my VFL report. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. Best show on YouTube. But I did say if Chera was injured, I would have brought Ben Camporelli into the side, because he's playing that kind of role and giving him a little bit of a blast of the furnace. But I don't want to pigeon Ben Camporelli into this team. I feel like Doherty's the safe option, and he's the one that doesn't need development. Like, I don't like playing a developing player as a sub. I feel like it's counterintuitive. It's VFL or not for me.
Love it.
Like it.
There it is. Wow, Jonno, you asked about your team. You made 2 changes. Tell me.
Yeah, well, it's very simple around the same lineup I've gone. every week so far this year, like for like, horses for courses. I will say, Pom, I delayed giving the team to you today because I was waiting on the outcome of Chera. But spoiler alert, if he was unlucky today, then Ben Camporelli would have been in my side.
Yeah.
You've got him in. You've got him in twice, Jonno. On the.
Who have I got in
Oh,
twice?
did I? That's me. Tell you what, keep talking.
Who have I got in twice?
Chera.
No,
I'll fix
not
it.
you, Jonno.
Oh, there we go.
Not
Chera's
you.
in twice. There you go.
Like Jemba.
He's so good. He's so good.
So he
decided
should be. So he should be.
Yeah. That should be Samuel Peter Welsh, Pom.
Yeah, no, yeah. Don't worry, I'm fixing it now while you keep
Oh,
talking.
good.
Just pretend it hasn't happened.
So
Sorry.
very, very pleased, all things considered, with how things went last week. The backline really, really stood up, and it's been said quite a few times on the fan cams with Terry. Pom, you alluded to it in your review as well, but McGovern and Haynes have sorted it out. They've worked out where they need to be. They've worked out their positioning. They've worked out what makes them a fantastic 1-2 punch. One of them plays a little bit smaller in McGovern, and one of them really floats around and being that interceptor. So when it came to trying to find a replacement for Sauce, I was thinking, well, do we go a bit too cute? Do we go a bit, a little bit of a structural change in the back? Absolutely not. You stick with what's working. As I think someone said in the chat before, it's currently the third ranked best defense in the league. And while you're going to be without Jack Silvani this week, which is a massive, massive blow because he's going ridiculously well as a key defender, we are playing against the highest scoring team in the competition in the Adelaide Crows. And they've hurt us in the past. They've got plenty of weapons, both in the air and on the ground. So Young comes in, he takes that Sauce role. And again, I want him playing shoulder to shoulder on Riley Thilthorpe. Thilthorpe's going to be a little bit limited with his finger, so he's probably going to play a little bit closer to goal. Wiedering can get up with Taylor Walker, and then you've got Haynes, McGovern taking care of the likes of Fogarty, intercepting as well. So I have bought in Cowan. The rest of the team stayed the same, but I bought in Cowan for a specific role. And I watched bits of the VFL. Nick, you were there, so you can probably give a bit more of an informed opinion. Watching the VFL, I was thinking, which of these two boys, Cowan or Jordan, are going to next cab off the rank, basically. And for this game, I'm bringing in Cowan with the role of looking towards Ben Keys. Because I mentioned it before, what Ben Keys has done in the last few times he's played Carlton, not only has he kicked goals from the goal square, but he's tried to get to Adam Sard and he's tried to play on Sard. Sardi gets sucked up to the contest, and then Keys pounds back to goal and then usually puts them through, and he turns into prime Sorioli in the process. So the role there for Cowan is to be there with this size, with his skills, and mainly his mongrel, and go, this is a complete head-to-head matchup with him. So I want it to not necessarily be a tag, because as we saw before he got injured, there were moments where he did come up towards the middle of the ground and start playing that intercepting role, distributing role up halfback. So I want him to almost follow Ben Keys everywhere. Use this game as not quite a development game for him, but I really want him to have this defined role against a player who's caused us grief. And maybe that's a way to come back into the side, because Pommy, you can probably see if Matt Carroll's gone ahead of him in terms of where he fits in that back six mix. I think there's room for both of them. But this might be a way of getting him back in. So they're probably my two changes. The only things to note from an Adelaide point of view is Matt Crouch is going to miss. He's going to be out 4 to 6. So that should really help us get ascendancy in the midfield.
Peatland goes full-time mid for them this week.
Yeah.
And Draper isn't the sub, I would guess. Anyway, continue.
Yeah. And the other important note is Adelaide will have to make 2 key defensive changes. So Nick Murray's done himself a mischief, so he'll have to go out, and Hinge will go out as well. So it probably means Jordan Butts comes in for his first game of the year, and they'll have to make another key defensive change. So if we get the supply right and get it to our forward line, which was looked the best it's looked all season against Geelong, that should be a way to win. So that's the team. Happy to take some questions if you have them.
I would just want to know who you're. I think everything makes complete sense. Well articulated. I want to know what your plan for the sub is. You're the go-to man when I have all things sub questions. So
Yes.
You love the sub role.
I love the sub
Who is
roller. Yeah. Well, I was thinking about this earlier today when I was sitting in traffic on Punt Road coming home from work. Was tossing up between Fogarty and Lord. I do want to shout out Lockie Fogarty because we have put it on him. We've all put it on him on this show to get involved. He was amazing in the first half on the weekend. He was one of the guys that really set up for the win for us in that first half. So a real shout out to Lockie Fogarty, and he's got a big role to play here again today. I think I might have been swayed by what Pommy said around Lord and Motlop, just giving him the chance to get in and get those minutes and injecting Motlop a little bit later in the game as those fresh legs, as someone who's gone on that on-ball rotation. So I'm thinking about that as a bit of a change. I know he's on my field at the moment, but might have swayed me a bit, Pom.
Interesting.
You know what? There is a genuine concern for me, and I want to ask you this. With no Matt Crouch, I am an obvious Adelaide Crows fanboy, and my two observations this year about them is, number one, I think Matt Crouch is the antichrist of what they're trying to do. So I think with them now presumably going to go with Sid Draper in there, Peatling becomes the full-time mid, Draper is the pinch hitter with Rankine. Yeah. I think that speeds them up. And my other concern is I've got a sneaky suspicion Riley O'Brien is out of the team this week, because I think slowly we are seeing the death of the big behemoth ruckman. And there is a gentleman in their Sandford team at the minute who is playing some nice football, Lachlan McAndrew, who
is from the keeper leagues.
Do you know what I mean? Who is almost like the Audi equivalent of TDK. Very Audi equivalent. But I have a fear there. What would you think when you were playing in this team? If they do come a little bit quicker, is that going to change Carlton's midfield makeup? Because at the minute, I don't feel like anyone's attacked that lack of leg speed of Carlton yet. We haven't really come across the team.
Well, Adelaide play in one mode, Pom. They set they're kind of like the less developed version of Collingwood, whereas they just go full throttle and they just go. They don't really have a slow down mechanism. They don't really have gears. And that's what they hit us with the last couple of times we played them. That's what they hit us with in Gather Round a couple of years ago, when they just went absolute bang from the first quarter. Jordan Dawson playing out of the middle I would have trusted him to hit a target like 5,000 meters away that night. He was kicking them unbelievably.
Hit the man on the moon on the chest.
He would have pinpointed someone halfway down along the Great Wall of China that night. And then last year at that day at Marvel Stadium, the one where Sam Berry did what he did, that was the day where Isaac Rankin went into the midfield full time, and that got their season off the canvas and running. So they have the weapons. I 100% agree with you. Like, Matt Crouch going out of that team probably helps them get back to what they want to do, which is play fast, get the ball to their potent forward line. As I said, they've got the weapons in the air. They've got the weapons on the ground now. Josh Rochelle had a run back last week, so he's going to be back in and playing hopefully some good footy because he's a good footballer. Hopefully not this week, though. But it's going to be a challenge for us. And again, we were talking a little bit off air, Pom, about the way that we play our football and how sustainable it's going to be. And we're going to come up against a lot of teams that just want to play fast all the time. We have shown, and we showed a little bit on the weekend, that we are starting to develop some modes of when to go fast, when to go a little bit slower and a bit more methodical. And then when we need to raise the pressure again and go a little bit quicker, we can. We proved that on the weekend against some good opposition. So it's going to be a test. I wonder how it's going to go, whether or not we're going to try, how quickly we try to turn this into our type of game, which is a win the ball back and try chain out, or try in the ball in our front half and really try and lock them in and pressure it in.
Mate, I feel the same as you. You know what? It was actually quite funny. I was watching the Sandford the other day. I didn't know this. I was watching Lachlan McAndrew, but you know who popped up in that Adelaide game? So if you go to the Sandford website, you can watch this game. I highly recommend. But for North Adelaide, there is a wingman currently. He's playing across half forward as the conduit.
Can I guess?
And I was like, fucking hell, this kid's quite good. And then the commentator said his name, Angus Schumacher. Do you remember him?
I was going to say Angus Schumacher. He's playing for North Adelaide.
Yeah, I was watching him and I was like, Jesus, this kid's taking a lot of marks. He looks quite tasty. And then they just happened to say, great mark there by Schumacher. And I was like, that's not Angus. Because I'd wrote number 5, North Adelaide, MSD. And then I was like, I can't release this video.
It's very funny at the start of the year, and also I'll get this quickly out before we move on. I was scrolling through some VFL lists and some VFL announcements, just doing a little bit of research, and I stumbled across who happened to be captain and vice captain of Williamstown this year. Cameron Paulson and Finbaro Dwyer.
Paulson.
Oh, well.
Carlton
He did
Royal.
just come up. I was just doing a data search and Cam Paulson's name did come up because he evidently fucking loved playing Adelaide the one time he played him.
It's quite funny. I have a mate, a big shout out to him, but a good mate of mine who I play golf with, who is well-to-do at Williamstown. And he did message me when they signed Cam Paulson. And he was like, we've got one of your mob coming to play for us. And I was like, who? And he was like, oh, Cam Paulson. And I always feel bad because I was like, yeah, good luck with that. And like the guy has absolutely torn it up for Williamstown, to be fair, like full credit to him. But I didn't give you a good reference, I'll be honest. I feel bad. I was like, you could have wasted that money on me, mate. But fair play to him. But nah, good Schumacher. Get him in your MSD team. He looks like Ben Keys 2.0. But Leg Dog, you fully slashed this team. 3 outs, unlike you, Leg Dog.
The axe man. Someone's got to bring the content. No, look, I mean, very simple, right? So for all the reasons you talked about with Lewis Young and Wiedering, I want Lewis Young to be my anchor, with Wiedering to be the Silvani this week. So Young comes in for JSOS. I wanted a bit of a like for like with Williams. I know we named it my halfback, but let's be serious. He's been playing the forward line. So he comes out. I want a like for like. I actually went Ashton Moyer, who, you know, theoretically is supposed to be that role, you know, on the same half forward line as an Elijah Hollands and maybe a Ben Camporelli. So I've brought him in after a decent game. And it wasn't just that he kicked a couple goals. He had a couple goal assists as well. And I just thought, you know, he was okay. And I'd rather fill a team with like-for-like players than try and do the round hole square peg thing that we tend to do in the Carlton reality that we live in. And then the other one is simple, which was Lord out for Doherty. And for some reason, it never actually occurred to me that I might be able to have someone else as sub and keep Lord in. In my head, I literally only think of him as the sub now. So he's out for a full game in the twos, and Sam Doherty comes in to be the sub as that utility player for us. But I thought the team was really good on the weekend. I think Gov and Haynes will potentially struggle a little bit. I think Silvani's the key to what they've done over the last few weeks in terms of, as Sauce's role and consistency has improved and he's sort of got more used to that role, Haynes and Govin's numbers have shot through the roof. And I do attribute that to Silvani's work. And then Ollie Hollands on the wing is another one. He had a great game. He led us for pressure acts. He led us for defensive half pressure acts. His disposal was way better than it has been in the past. He just had a really, really good game. And I think let's leave him there on the wing. So nothing too crazy, but that's the team.
To answer Matt Lang's question, I did think about dropping Ian for making no changes. I was partly relieved when there was an injury because I was like, he can't do it again. But yeah, maybe it is a punishment, suspension week, taking the game into disrepute. I have a question for you, right? You mentioned Ollie Hollands on the wing. Now, we did see this week Ollie Hollands play the attacking wing role. And because of his natural game, he does get a bit leggy and chase players back. And then we saw Akers, which makes more sense playing the defensive role. I noticed you named Chesney on the wing. Are you slowly phasing Akers out of this team? Because watching the VFL, Ben Camporelli floats on the wing in his rest period. And Lucas really does float wing, almost like Lockie Whitfield 2.0. Plays the wing, rests at halfback, spurts as that extra around the ball. Do you think that's a natural evolution of this side, that we don't really have a halfback rotation, do we?
We don't. It's funny. So this team was named based off how they named last week's team. That's sort of where I started. And then I did my ins and outs. And as I was looking through the numbers at Hollands, Cottrell, who's been running through the wing, the guys in the reserves who've been running through the wing, the question I have now asked myself is, what purpose does Blake Akers serve the senior football team at the Carlton Football Club? It's a hard question to ask because I do have like a semi-personal connection to him, and I want him to do the best. But I do think when you're putting Hollands back on the wing role and you look at the talent we've got in the reserves and the guys who can rotate through there, actually Akers might be surplus to requirements when we look at next year's team round one. I don't know if he'll necessarily be in it. I hope he is for personal reasons, but yeah, I am beginning to think that we've gone to the draft, he got outside players over the last few years, that maybe he isn't a long-term solution for us.
He just seems to be lacking a little bit of polish at the moment in his game, doesn't he? He's second-guessing himself.
And we can blame that on he's a new dad, so maybe he's not getting any sleep and stuff. Maybe we can blame it on that, but I think it's kind of irrelevant if there's people doing the role better. So yes, this is me starting to make the phase.
Mate, he's no Jack Nunes. He's no Jack Nunes.
No one could ever be Jack Nunes, and he should still be playing for the Carlton Football Club.
I have a surprise for that, dog, but there might be something in the pipeline. Watch this space. Any other questions for the sexy leg dog?
Yeah, Moya, Moya, I'd love to see him come to his hometown in Adelaide and absolutely dominate. You feel he's ready?
Probably not. But I wouldn't be afraid of pulling the trigger on him early. I know Ross Lyon, he did the same thing with Hugo Garcia last week. Hugo is going to play this week as well, but he subbed him in, I think, half time or in the middle of the second quarter. I just don't know. I don't know if he's going to ever be super awesome. He has, in theory, a high ceiling, and I think when I'm looking at my main focus was looking at a like-for-like or a relative like-for-like replacement for Zach Williams.
Yep.
He fits the bill for me more than, say, a Frankie Evans, who's potentially another option to play in that space. I just don't think I'd rather roll the dice with a Moya than a Frankie Evans. And Boyd's still playing the defensive role in the twos, so I wouldn't want to flip that around. So essentially, I was just looking for like, and if it doesn't work, well, I'm not afraid to sub him out, and that's why Doc is my sub. He's that. It could be Lord as well. It doesn't really matter, but they've got versatility and they can fill those roles.
Got Fogarty there, who's lifting and doing the right things as well. And shout out to Ashton. I think he's a great kid, and he's going to be something special for the club. I see a trend where we tend to bring our young players in with so many expectations a little bit too soon, and then they go from the most promising to the most hated by the Carlton fans. And I hate that.
Yes.
Did anyone else? I watched Ashton Moyer's game with intent in the VFL this week, and you know what annoys me about Ashton, and it's what I say about Harry O'Farrell. And this is my only reservation with bringing Ashton Moyer in. I am so impressed with Harry O'Farrell. If you go back and watch my draft content, the best defender was Luke Traynor. Number 2 was Harry O'Farrell, right? And number 4, incidentally, was Alex Tyru. I still stand by that. My fear is a little bit like Moyer. I think we brought him in way too early against Eagles, and the expectation is too high. I watched him in this VFL game this week, and what annoys me about Ashton is that is his best, but his worst to his best. You can see he's a 30s pick player that still needs to grit his teeth. I really hope we hold off on Ashton for a long time, like really hone the craft, because my fear is he comes in this week after showing a bit this week, and we're back to square one.
Yeah, traditionally, he's the opposite of what I look for in a player, in that he's a really low floor, high ceiling player. Normally, I'm the complete opposite. But I don't know. I think with Zach Williams out, there's an opportunity there for him. Could be Cooper Lord as well, who's been playing that role when he comes in.
Don't lie, Dog. The first thing you look for in a player is if they're going to be a candidate to wear long sleeve jerseys, mate.
And generally high floor players wear long sleeves. So
now, Dog's lying.
I've got just one more question, if I can. Cooper Lord, you're dropping out of the side. Hasn't seen a lot of minutes. He's been playing that sub role. Are you putting him on the emergency and flying him over to Adelaide so he can run laps of the Oval, or are you?
That's a very good question, actually. That's a very good question. Who are we playing in the VFL? Does anyone know?
This week?
Yeah.
I think we are playing one of the shit kicking teams. I'll check now. Give me a sec. Calendar round 8. We're playing, the Coburg Lions.
It's a very good question. I mean, based on my logic, he'd be staying home and playing, and you might take Cowan and Boyd over as your emergencies or something like that. But it's a great point. I hadn't really considered. I'd just love him to either be in the team or out of the team and not keep being. I know he's been all right, but just
I'm with you.
He's going to fly, but our midfield are playing like the superstars they are
exactly.
At the moment, which is
and the forwards are all the roles which he could take are all playing well as well. So I guess he could be on the field for Moyer in this team. But speaking of, I'd love to pick this team because I'm going to have to run.
I was going to say, let's do it. Before we pick the team, I've got a question for you. Mid-season draft, we have minimum of 1 pick. What are you guys looking for?
Far out. I don't know. a ruckman for next year's ruck 1 position in our team. Knowing us, though, it'll be a
midfielder,
small forward who's been twice from 2 other AFL clubs, or will elevate a VFL player who's probably not up to the level.
That's my fear, because I've got my eye on a guy. Everyone check this out after this video. Go and watch a VFL player, Massimo Rassa, plays for Richmond. He's a diminutive small forward who's got the pace like lightning, probably the most informed player in the VFL. And I caught highlights of him today when I was doing my research. I actually went and watched a full game, and I was like, because of the same issue you're talking about, bringing Moyer,
Yeah.
I don't think Francis Evans is him.
No.
So I feel like I'd like a development option. But sorry, Kane, I know hands off. I'm so impressed by him. I was like, he is everything that I like in a player. Quick, nimble. I remember him at the Western Jets and I was like, ooh, come back. But here we are. We pick the team as we always.
I feel like
Oh, have we lost the great man?
Lost people.
He's there. Sorry, say that again, Jonno. You cut out.
We missed you.
I just said gut feel is we're taking Liam McMahon to beef up the key position stocks.
Would be the most Carlton thing to do.
Would be the most Carlton thing to do. Anyway, let's pick this team quick, smart.
All right, Leg Dog, start me off with the back man.
Lewis Young, fullback.
Lewis Young. Jonno.
I will take Hainsey.
Beautiful. He did deserve the harsh punishment we gave him for the first 3 weeks, but he did play very well on the last weekend. Both things can be true.
He did it.
He did indeed. I agree with you. Nick?
Cannot have a back line at Carlton without Wiedering.
The Great Wall of Wiedering. You know what? I'll pick his mate, McGovern. That backline looks bare without the Silvani name. Chat, we need 2 defenders. Go hard. Your options are Akers, Boyd, Carroll, Chera, Cottrell, Cowan, Cripps, Curnow, Doherty, Durden, Elijah, Ollie, Hollins, Fogarty, Hewitt, Lord, Mackay, Moyer, Motlop, Sard, TDK, Walsh, and Whitey. Oh, hello, Whitey.
I'm loving the chat so far.
Honestly, I told you.
God, they're smart.
Honestly, I'm telling you, look, I know a lot of you are from Blue Abroad, but I will stand by this because we've got foreigners in here as well from rival teams. But the Pommyinoz chat is, by a country mile, the most intelligent chat in all of sports entertainment history.
Yeah. It did take a while to ban all the idiots, but we did get there.
I love it. So there we are. We got Carroll and Sard, Let Dog, midfield/ruck.
Yeah, midfield/ruck. Ollie Hollins has earned the first selection on the wing.
Well done, Ollie.
Oliver.
Just
Mr.
keep willing it into existence.
Mr. Jonno. Yeah, did you see his blind rankings today? That was appalling from him. That's the only knock I'll have on Oliver. But
that was terrible. Walshy.
I was genuinely upset that they didn't stiff him a little bit more and made him have his brother too. I would have stiffed him a bit more and left him till the end, but just me. Nick?
Can we speak about the newly appointed best man in the competition, George Hewitt?
Oh, mate. Tell you what, Brownlow Hewitt. You know what? It's just because, chat, even though you are the best in the world, I do remember that time that we had to have Lewis Young as a ruckman.
Yes.
And I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night, Mrs. Pom's there asleep, and I'm like, not Lewis! And she's like, what? And I'm like, nothing, babe, go back to sleep. And then I have to put myself to sleep. Chat, we need a winger and a centreman. Akers, Boyd, Chera, Cottrell, Cowan, Cripps, Curnow, Doherty, Durden, Elijah, Fogarty, Lord, Mackay, Moyer, Motlop, White. Spot on, D. And hey, look, I've always loved George, but you know what? I'm glad he's getting a little bit of love from other people because I'm like Let Dog. I don't like sexy. I like reliable. And you know what? George Hewitt is a pair of Ugg boots you bought in 1998. Ooh, Akers getting a bit of love here. Look, Cotters.
Cotters and Akers. This is not,
that would be typical after Let Dog slates his mate. That chat alike. I think Akers has got it.
Akers, yeah. Cripps, yeah.
Look at that. All right, we're up to the forward line. Leck.
Okay, I won't stuff around and pick my boy. If you guys want him, you can pick him. So I will take Elijah Hollins, please.
Elijah. Mr. Jonno.
William White.
Hell yeah.
Just by the way, my youngest brother is calling Will White Jeff because he wears 38 and he grew up loving Jeffy Garlett. So we've now got two.
Yeah.
That is confusing with
I've thought about that as well. Yeah.
Jeff as well.
Yeah.
Took me so long on that video they released to work out who the fuck they were talking about.
I have a voicemail from someone in the Carlton community that was like, not fucking Will White, he's shite. And I do keep sending it every time he kicks a goal back to him.
He's killing it. He's killing it. He's killing it. I'm going to make a special mention to another small forward who is also killing it of late and looking like a completely different person. And Durden, keep flying, son. Keep flying, keep kicking goals, keep putting the pressure on like you were doing. You were doing sensational.
I keep watching Durden and being a bit confused because I think it's actually Eddie Betts out there.
Yeah, he looks different, doesn't he?
I don't think Eddie Betts ever flew that high, to be honest with you.
I did once at the Gabba.
You know what? I think this guy's getting undue criticism, right? Because I think we all defended a lot of players. Like Ollie Holland's got a lot of defence because he was playing a shit role. I feel like Motlop, he's getting a lot of shit and he's playing a role that's not fully suited. So I'm going to back him in at half forward.
I didn't realize people had been shit talking him. Like he had a quiet game, but I felt like he's earned and created enough equity in himself across the year.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
He's getting the ball out really well in the midfield when he goes, plays that midfield role. I think too.
I keep saying it. It's such a different role to what he's drafted for, and I feel like people just expect him to be the best. But we need two forwards. It should be quite easy, this. And Maz taking it upon herself and look at the girls. Look at the girls. This is why I love them. Look, leading the charge like Pom. Shut the fuck up and pick the team. I love it. I love it. Look, I tell you what, every man needs a woman just to push him along. I like it.
That's a good shout from Bev Tone. Motlop is leading assists for our team.
Like he gets no love. Like I actually feel sorry for him. Like because like it's not his fucking job. But we're now on the extended bench. We've only got a few names. Like,
well, I'll take the easy one in Chera.
You know what? Shout out Walsh, who we named on the bench, and since then he's been pretty good. Shout out Maz as well. Look at the goals tonight with the donations as well. If you have got a membership because of Maz, make sure you give Maz lots of love. She's
just as I closed the goddamn stream, I want a free membership.
They are. Mr. Jonno.
I am picking Matthew Cottrell.
McLuggage 2.0.
Yeah.
That's who Cottrell is. It's basically if you went to Aldi and you asked for McLuggage, they'd give you a Cottrell
too.
Mate, massive fan of Aldi. Aldi, if you are watching, for reasons we can't go into, I'd like an Aldi sponsorship, please. So if you want to sponsor us, come on.
Oh, that is a story for all the time.
There's a big story. Mr. Nick.
Yeah, I don't want to see Cooper Lord running laps of the Adelaide Oval as an emergency or in the twos. I want to give him more game time. So let's put him on the bench and see what he can do.
You know what? Because I'm a festering coward, chat, I'm going to let you have the decision. I'm going to say Foggett. So, chat, you have the power. Who are you making the last spot? You've got Boyd, Cowan, Doc, or Moyer who can come in.
Is it safe to assume this is probably our sub if we were selecting the team because we don't want Lord to be sub again?
Mm-hmm.
And you never be Lord sub. You don't want to have blood.
1, 2.
Cowan's getting a fuckload of love.
Yeah.
Oh, Doc coming in late.
Doc's coming in late.
Cowan, Boyd or Doc, Moo, Cowan.
I reckon.
Cowan's got it.
I reckon Cowan's back.
Yeah, Cowan's definitely back.
Back
Moo.
again.
Yes, who's back?
Cowan's
Who's
back.
back?
In chat.
Tell your friend.
Well, there you are, chat. The only ins we've got this week are Cowan and Young, but that is a very strong side. Before we go, Mr. Leckdog, what are you doing for the rest of the week?
Nothing this week, but every
Nothing at all?
Sunday night or Monday I write an article for Code Sports. If you play Supercoach, go and subscribe and read that article.
I am putting in your thing right now, Leckdog, your Twitter, because the best way to find what Leckdog does is Twitter. If you go on Twitter, he has some good things as well, and occasionally posts pictures of men in sleeves. So if you are into your only sleeves, get on down there. Jonno, what are you doing for the rest of the week? You've got a load on at your wonderful place.
Yeah, well, I've got work tomorrow, so that'll be fun. But keep clicking back to the Gardner stand. We are all being well going to have a tribute to the late, great Peter Bozosto coming out this week. So keep your eyes out for that. We'll have a preview before the Adelaide game. We'll have a review of the Adelaide game. Our recap of the Cats game went out today. So like, share, subscribe. It gets sent straight to your inbox. It's as easy as you like. If you become a paid member of the channel, you have access to absolutely everything, and I will love you very much. If you want to become a free member, I will still love you very much, but you don't get access to absolutely everything. So keep enjoying our content, and thank you very much.
Hey, you know what? You have to get me. Maybe we should do. How many rounds is the 23? 24 games, isn't the 23? So what? 12, 24, 6, 8, 20. We should do a third of the way round review. You and me.
We did our one-liners last week, Pom. So
no, but an actual in-depth one, not one-liners. I don't do one-liners, mate. Only jokes.
No, that is true. That is true. Pom's soliloquies. Yeah. Let's have a chat.
And plus, I smashed the granny out of it, so I can't do lines anymore, unfortunately. Reasons we can't go into. Nick, Horizon Finance has got so much to do. Not only do you have the best advertising, right? Honestly, your videos are some of the best things I've seen on the internet that don't have an intro of a drum beat at the start and a black and orange background. So there's a niche reference for those who are aware of what I'm talking about. What can we do at Horizon Finance? I've put your links in the chat. Tell them if they ring you up now and go, Nick, I see you on there. Not only are you the sexiest person I've ever seen, you're also quite witty. What can you do for me?
Thank you very much for the acknowledgement. It takes a lot of work to act like a clown and dance like you're a drunken sailor in front of the for the internet for enjoyment, but that's what I do. But feel free to give me a call anytime or send me an inbox if you're thinking of buying something and you don't know how to piece it all together. If you need some help setting some goals, you might have some dark skeletons in the closet and have defaulted on a loan before and you're feeling like shit and you just don't know how to start. Shame gets you in the way of just asking for advice. Don't ever feel shame. There's no judgment here. Anything that you tell me is confidential. If you need to have a chat or about a loan or just some advice, that's what I am here for. I'll be writing loans and answering some phones. So
that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Hey, I love it. Yeah, I mean, making a fool of your internet for other people's enjoyment for money.
If The Undertaker wasn't a wrestler and he was a loan broker.
Mate, what have we got planned? I've got a video tomorrow. We're trying something where I am going in on North Melbourne tomorrow. So we're going to go full in on the Sheasel, Cane Corns, everything that they're doing at the minute, because I think it's ridiculous. We've got the preview coming up. We've got loads of lives coming up this week. We're live for the Hawthorn game, the Carlton game, and another game. We might be doing something special, so stay tuned for that. And then we've got the Sunday show. We have got Bomber Banter on the show on the Sunday. We will be covering it. We've got our second female. We're going all girl this week. So looking forward to having Bomber Banter on with us. Hopefully after both of our sides win. Everyone stay safe. Have a great rest of the week. My favourite show to do with some great people. Look after yourselves. Peace, love and light. We'll see you next week. Go Blues.
Up the mighty Blues.